Oh, I was born in a little town in Ukraine called Korostin.
Horston?
Korostin, yes. Uh, when both my parents were in the army, my mother volunteered, and my father was an officer. And after the war, my mother gave birth to me, and my grandparents lived in Korostin. So there, where I was born.
Great. And what was going on in the USSR while you were growing up?
It was actually a terrible time in the USSR, because it was the time of Stalin, and it was terrible. I remember one episode which affected probably all my following life. I was lying in a crib when I was little, and I was awaking at night, not from voice, not from noise, but from the feeling of danger, pervasive danger. And I saw my parents sitting at front of our little heater and burn the documents. They're anticipating a search. That was a very crucial experience.
What documents were they burning?
Anything, because at the time of Stalin, anything could be implicated, including even a simple paper. You used the paper with a photograph of Stalin to wrap something, and it was an offense against the greatest military leader of all times. So they were burning probably everything that could be considered an offense.
Got it. And so you grew up in this town?
No. After I was born, in 3 months, my parents moved to Kiev.
Kiev.
Yes, my father was still in the army.
And you went to school there?
Yes, I went to music school first at 6, and then I went to. Of course, I attended also something similar to a public school in America. In parallel to my music school. And then I went to music college in Kiev. At first in Vinnytsia, actually in Vinnytsia, because I was not able to get into a college in Kiev, despite everything, despite that I was very good violinist. Despite everything, I played at the concert in Kiev Philharmonic, but nothing happened because I was Jewish, and that was the most crucial for them. So I couldn't go there. I went to provincial city of Vinnytsia, and I entered the college there. But in 2 years, I developed my symptoms from multiple sclerosis, and nobody knew in the Soviet Union at that time what it was. The fact is that I just couldn't continue playing the violin, and I managed to transfer to Kiev, Kiev Music College, and there I started with a new career as a musicologist, and finished it. And again, it was a problem to go further, and I went first to Donetsk. Again, I couldn't go to Kiev because because of anti-Semitism, and in provincial city of Donetsk, again I went through all these 10 exams. I received every exam in the Soviet Union. The exam is judged by numbers. 1 is low and 5 is the best. So I received 5s on all 9 exams, and the last exam, the history of the Communist Party, I received 3, which was not good enough, and so I was rejected. And then, when I was there, my mother called all conservatories in Ukraine, and it was too late. They already had that. And then she called the Moscow Gnesins Institute, Gnesins Music Institute. It's the premier institution of this kind, probably everywhere maybe. It was, I could never even dreamt to get to such an institution. It was top of the line, as they say here. And they thought, yes, he could come, but my mother said, but the Kiev College, Music College, they don't want me to go there. And my documents, all my diplomas and everything was still in the music college, because they don't want the documents to go. And my mother explained in Moscow that he cannot get the documents because they don't want. And they say, let him come. We let him enter the exams, and if he is good, we will request through the Ministry of Culture of USSR the documents. But if he good, of course. If he is not, so be it. He will return back. And that's happened. I went there, and I was very good. And they said I was accepted. And they requested my documents, my diplomas, everything. So the Minister of Culture, and I became a student there. And then, after I graduated, and again, I was very good. And I wanted to go to a postgraduate course, but again, at this time, they became anti-Semitic. It was not before, at least I didn't feel it. And the representative of the Communist Party sat on the exams, and they said, no, it's not good. When I said that, when I told them the subject of my doctoral dissertation, my future doctoral dissertation, which I chose, and I love it. It's a Gustav Mahler. And he told me, why do you choose Gustav Mahler? So don't we have enough our Soviet or Russian composers? That probably sealed my fate. After that, I couldn't go. But I just studied just privately, and to get through my doctoral exams. And I went through all these exams successfully until my last one, to defend my doctoral dissertation. But at that time, I received finally the permission to leave the Soviet Union. It was the more important thing, that my doctoral degree, and I left it.
How old were you at the time?
At the time, 35.
35.
Yes. And that's after that I was here.
What were your impressions before you came to the United States? What were your impressions of the United States?
Very positive.
Can you say a little bit more about that?
Yes, I will try. I thought that it's a democratic country that's very, very well developed in the technical field, and on all the cases it was a very positive impression.
What were your impressions of the Cold War at that time?
Cold War, of course, I didn't regard all the information that I could get from the Soviet papers or the radio or the television. I discovered it. It was all